Sometimes the wildest battles come around when you're least prepared for it. With some of the strangest weather conditions I've ever driven in, we had a race I can only label as absolutely crazy. This is the story of the wildest three-way battle I've ever been a part of.
The rain is falling and the track is getting wet. Marcus is now close to the back of the leader. Is he going to be able to make a move anytime soon? As Tom sends it down the inside for the lead. Oh, and he's lost it. What a magnificent fight this is.
It was a normal Sunday in the start of April 2025. I didn't have any plans on actually entering this race until around 30 minutes before the race start, when all of a sudden I felt an urge to go racing. So I started up the sim and the first thing I saw was an endurance race. Waiting for me was a 2-hour 40-minute race at Fuji with a slight chance of rain. The only problem was that I didn't have a single lap of practice. So what would my pace look like? I risked being slow and not in control of the car. I risked potential embarrassment in front of the grid and in front of my stream. But the good thing was that I didn't set any expectations. Not knowing what was lying ahead of me, I signed up and wondered, what could possibly go wrong? As I loaded in and started doing laps, I didn't exactly feel confident in the pace. Normally you've had plenty of time to practice and figure out where to brake and figure out what the optimal racing line is and so on. But I ended up having around 5 laps to make an educated guess on all of these things. Oh, and on top of that, I decided to skip quali and start from the back. It had all the recipes for disaster. But there I was on the 5.5 gauge strength of field grid with a total of 5 completed laps on this track. Please don't try this yourself. For 95% of sim races, it's not doable without putting other people's race at a huge risk. What's my excuse? I'm a pro sim racer with 9k iRacing and I did a race on Fuji like 2 years ago. Anyways, let's get into the race.
Time to go racing in Fuji. 2 hours and 40 minutes onto the clock as the 15-car GTP field will make their way across the start line. The yellow number 3 Cadillac taking to the race start from pole position.
Starting at the back of the grid with incredibly cold GTP tires is always a big risk, but if done in the right way, can be a huge benefit for people who know how to handle these cars in cold tires. Going into turn 1, I sent it down the inside, but in a very gentle way, braking early to keep the car under control, and when I saw the gap was still open, I simply slotted into it. On the inside line, I managed to find good traction, gaining me a position and putting me on the outside line for turn 3. Then it was simply about braking later and carrying more speed to gain yet another position. And already a couple turns later, I managed to get on the inside line, which sent us side by side into the tricky chicane. Luckily for me, I had the better line for the exit, which allowed me to not only out-accelerate the Ferrari behind, but also the BMW in front.
Here's Marcus, he's carving his way through the field on the first lap as he sends it down the inside of the BMW. Whoa, there's a spinner!
Narrowly avoiding a spinner while making a move meant we had gained a lot of positions on the start. And by the end of the first lap, we were already in P8, up 7 positions in one single lap.
Second lap of the race, tyres are still somewhat cold though, as Marcus, he's going to send it to the outside for P7. He finds the grip on the brave line, and he's just about going to get that one done.
A very clean move around the outside put us into P7 for around 4 seconds.
Sending it down the inside for P7. He's going to get that move done, and Marcus loses the position as quickly as he gained it.
But I wasn't done yet.
Sends it down the inside for P7 again. Once again, they go side by side. Can he reclaim the position? Oh, the answer is no.
Or was it?
Spinning out there is the number 10 Ferrari, which I think that's going to finally put an end to that battle.
Finally moving into P7, it was finally time to...
Oh, now Marcus is losing the rear end. Oh, the car instantly loses P7.
You've got to be joking. You've got to be fun. Settling into P8 in a 4-car train for P5, it was time to see what the pace actually looked like once people had gotten their tires up to temperature. And to my surprise, I was actually able to keep up pretty decently. But if I wanted to move further up in the pecking order, I'd have to be faster than them. So I started experimenting with slightly different lines and even looking at what the guys ahead were doing in the corners where I lost time to them. As we navigated the first round of GT3 traffic, I was slowly building up confidence and finding pace in the car as I started to adapt my racing lines. Which meant Patrick and the BMW ahead let me pass so I could give it a go for P6. So that's what I did 2 laps later. The Cadillac went to the middle of the track to defend his position, but I spotted a gap still open on the inside. Since he didn't go all the way to the right, I made a move for P6 and got it done on the exit of the corner. I was now in clean air, so I could really get a feeling of what the pace was actually like. Unfortunately, it seemed like my quick adaptation to the different racing lines had paid off as we pulled away from the car behind within 3 laps. On top of that, we instantly started closing the 3-second gap to the car ahead, and going into the first corner on lap 27, the Ferrari in P5 would make a small mistake, allowing me to get alongside him and once again overtake on the outside of turn 3.
The first couple of cars are making their way down onto pit lane as we approach the 1 hour mark of this race.
The 4th place Cadillac ahead of me and pretty much everyone around us made their way onto pit road on lap 36. Meanwhile, I had secretly been saving quite a lot of fuel, which meant I was able to push the fuel stint not just to lap 37, but to lap 38. This would give me a chance of overcutting the car ahead, as they would be doing 2 laps on very cold tires while I'd be full pushing on my in-laps. As I came into the pits, it was time for the moment of truth. I came out of the pits around 5 seconds in front of the Cadillac, and I had to try and bring the tires up to temperature without losing more than that. Fortunately enough, I got the tires up to temperature on the first 3 laps, losing only 4 seconds, which then meant we had gained a position. At the same time, the car previously running 3rd had gotten a speeding penalty in the pits, so we could officially move up into a podium position after just an hour of the race gone by. It was time to focus ahead, but there was just one big problem.
So Holmes currently running in 3rd, about 15 seconds from 2nd place and about 23 seconds off of the race lead.
The gap the top 2 had built was realistically too big for me to catch with my limited practice. While I was able to match the pace of the 7 to 8k iRacing drivers in those cars, I wasn't able to go faster than them, and considering the massive gap, it seemed unrealistic that I could finish any higher than 3rd place, unless the weather had other plans.
It seems the rain has arrived at Fuji, and if there's one thing we know, it's that wet weather conditions can completely turn a race upside down. We saw this at this year's iRacing 24 Hours of Daytona, where absolute chaos broke loose.
This was my chance. While catching 24 seconds in dry conditions would be incredibly difficult for me, doing it in wet conditions almost seemed possible in my mind. Would it be doable? Well, I'll tell you more about that in a second. I quickly want to thank you all so much for the support on the Daytona 24-hour video. It's been absolutely amazing to see so many of you enjoying it, and especially rewarding because I spend so much time and effort making these videos as good as they can be. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Any support from you guys is very much appreciated. I also quickly want to thank Lewis McGrade for doing the commentary in this video. It adds so much, in my opinion, to the story and to the video as a whole, so make sure you check him out as well. Now let's get back to the video.
The rain is falling and the track is getting wetter, but it doesn't seem to be slowing down the lap times for the time being.
While we had rain, it started out very lightly. So lightly that lap times didn't even start dropping before it had rained for 5 laps. The radar showed light blue rain level, which is basically the lightest rain can get. It was a question of whether wet tires were even going to be faster. And just as I started to wonder, the lap time started dropping and the grip was disappearing. This was really a tricky part of the race because we were dropping off around a second a lap at this point, and the rain was gonna keep lasting for a little while. Last time I stood in this situation at Daytona, I went against the whole field and stayed on a dry tire, which we gained a lot of time on. But this didn't feel the same to me. The track was really starting to lose grip, and if I wanted to close the gap to the leaders, I had to take a risk.
It's been 16 laps since the rain started, and Marcus is the first car within the top 10 to make his way down on the pit lane for wet tyres.
I really took a gamble with the mindset that this would either pay off or it would cost us the whole race. And as the wet tyres got up to temperature, it kinda started to feel like the correct choice. With the top 2 coming into the pits for wet tyres a lap after me, we could see that the gap to P1 had shrunk to just 17 seconds and the gap to the car ahead to just 10 seconds. It was time to get a move on and start pushing.
The gaps in the top 3 are closing down, with Marcus now chasing the number 8 Ferrari ahead of him.
It was really starting to narrow down, and on lap 77 the number 8 Ferrari made a move for the lead. Meanwhile, I was closing down the gap at a rate that almost made a win seem realistic. With half an hour to go, I was only 5 seconds behind. Would it be possible to do a last to first in a 5.5k strength of field with no more than 5 laps of practice? It was certainly going to be super tricky. The track was at a really weird stage. The tires were really overheating and losing grip because the track wasn't actually as wet as it felt. Looking at the back of the field, there was some teams laps down that had gone on the dry tires and were lapping 3 to 4 seconds faster every single lap. It came to a point where I was really considering pitting for the slicks, but since we were catching the guys up ahead and they were also on wets, I decided to stay out.
17 minutes left on the clock as Tom Rye's going to be making a move for the race lead. He goes down the inside, but can he keep it?
I closed down the gap to just 2 seconds by the time the top two started fighting. That meant I pretty quickly caught up to the back of them and made this a three-way battle for the win in grip conditions that suited a different tire than the one we were all on.
The leader's gone deep and Rye is on the inside trying to get the move done, but he's not quite able to do it this time around.
At this point, I was just waiting for the right opportunity to present itself as the others were battling very closely.
Ooh, Tom's just got absolutely squeezed off the track, running deep into the corner, which allows Marcus to slip through into second place for now. I can tell you though, this battle is far from over.
Moving up into P2 meant that we only needed to gain one more position to move into the lead of the race. But Tom wanted to pass me again, which didn't exactly make it easier to get close enough to the back of the leader. However, after 2 laps, I finally got close, and with under 9 minutes left of the race, I tried to make this move.
Marcus is now close to the back of the leader. Is he going to be able to make a move anytime soon? We might not see it this time around as he runs deep, almost runs into the back of the leader.
I was trying to look down the inside without risking completely overshooting my braking, but as you can see in this braking zone, P1 actually tightens his line from his initial defensive move. It forced me to lock my brakes to not smash into him. Now, this is a dangerous but not a dirty move, as I wasn't technically alongside him in the braking zone, but it could have ended way worse if I hadn't been able to slow the car down with a compromised line I had. It meant that we lost a position that we'd now need to gain back again. And already a few corners later, I managed to find better traction, once again putting us side by side into the first corner.
Going back into P2 now, it's Sohom as the back marker on the dry tyres is quickly making his way through the top 3. Oh, that's what you get when the track is damp like it is now. People making the right gambles. Oh, as Marcus gets run deep by the back marker, and Raya once again reclaims the position. What a magnificent fight this is.
With 4 laps to go, a back mark on the dry tyres interrupted the battle by carving through in a couple corners and stealing my racing line into turn 3. Fortunately, it didn't lose as much time as the battle continued later that same lap. Tom tried to make a move firstly on the outside of a corner where it seemed impossible, and the corner after that I sent it
3 wide now for the lead of the race. This is coming down to the wire as the number 8 Ferrari keeps the lead with 5 minutes to go.
We didn't have a lot of time left to make a move for the lead. It had to happen within the next couple of laps if you wanted to win this race. And as luck would have it, on the 97th of 99 laps in the race, Tom would make this move.
2 laps to go, first, second and third place on a line. Who is going to come out on top as Tom sends it down the inside for the lead? Oh, and he's lost it. He's lost it. Trying to make the move for the lead. Instead, he's handed the lead to Marcus and has spun off into the distance.
Tom went for an absolute send that I narrowly managed to avoid getting struck by. Compromised the leader's line on exit, which finally allowed me to slip through into the lead of the race. Now I just had to keep the lead, which, considering the pace advantage we had before the battle, wasn't actually that hard. We instantly pulled away, and by the time we went onto the final lap, there was multiple seconds between us and P2. Coming out of the final corner on the final lap, we were about to win this race. This is proof that you don't need to practice 100 hours to have an amazing race, and this is just one more thing that I absolutely love about sim racing.
So Marcus Sohom is going to cross the line to take the win here at Fuji from last place on the grid. Tom Raya makes it P2 with the number 8 Ferrari falling down to 3rd at the end. What a battle and what a race.
If you made it this far into the video, I want to say thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I've been Marcus, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.